Hi, everybody. Today, I am inviting each one of you, that is watching, of course, to do this activity with me. It's fun. I actually also just stumbled upon it yesterday while watching something, and I also sat down to do this on my own and I stumbled. Here's the activity. Let's say that I were to meet you for the first time, and yes, you tell me your name. That's all. Okay. And then you begin to introduce yourself without telling me number one, where are you from? Number two, what do you do as a job? Number three, your religion. Number four, your parents and their background. Number five, well, nobody says it, but how much money do you have, or which particular location do you live in? Not geographically, but like location. you know Number six, even about your family, that my son does this, my daughter does that. Okay. Number seven, that I know so and so. Number eight, your qualifications. Number nine, your goals. Number 10, your views about the politics of the world, or the economics of the world, or the finance of the world, or the share markets of the world, or the markets of the world in general, or the going ons of the world, or the news of the world. How can we introduce ourselves without these social tags? That was the phrase used in the video. This is not my phrase. These external factors. This made me think very, very deep and not, you know. And truth be told, this is me introducing myself to you. So, my name is obviously appearing on the video. So, I'm not going to introduce my name to you, but let's see if I can do this. One of the things that I was saying just now was that I did not find this tough to do. And the reason is because I always feel that it is us humans that are living together. And I truly believe that the whole thing about profession and about earning capabilities and about possessing things and about even interpersonal relationships and all the industries that have been built on all these things are still kind of a method to pass our time on this planet. I've always felt this, always, which is why I've always been the outlier, or living in on the outside, or always the outcast. Always. Okay. But that said, nevertheless, you are still part of the world. I am part of the world. Everything will rub on me as well, right? And at the end of the day, we are human beings with a mindset, with a thought process, with the capacity of getting influenced, right? So I'm no exception there, and nobody is, for that matter. Nobody is. But I think one of the things that this is me introducing, okay, one of the things that I definitely bring to the table is the willingness to be curious. I'm always curious. There are people that know me would know this about me. I'm not quick to judgments, and not on the face at least. I will judge in my head. And that's not judgment. Maybe I'm forming opinions. And the whole forming opinion bit also is based on so much of historical data. That's our brain doing it. We shouldn't judge ourselves also for forming opinions or judging people somewhere, because it's also a method of survival, which is largely not something that is deliberate or intentional. No, somewhere it is happening in a snap, and it's that snap, or that distance or time between the snap judgment and the action. So action happening and then the snap judgment happening, there is a distance that your thought travels in. There's a tiny time. When you catch that is when then you can, kind of like a traffic policeman, tell the vehicle to stop. This is where another thing that I am introducing myself to you is what I have begun to do. And then I do catch myself over and over again judging people, judging situations, judging circumstances. And then I also realize that so many times it's also based on my mood, and on the hormones, on where am I in my cycle, on where am I in my stress level, where is the cortisol today, has my staff not come, have I eaten something that's not helping me, am I in general pissed off with somebody or a situation. So that then gets me to a place where I then tend to feel very very vulnerable and out of control. And of late, I have been trying very hard to, this is going to come as a surprise, to let go, not of hurt, pain. No, that is very easy. Now I'm telling you, it's very easy to let go of the hurt and pain. What I've started to let go of is even the sense of control. You know, just like, it's like sometimes I feel like I'm falling, like going down a mountain or something, like rumbling like a stone in my head or in my heart or wherever I feel it, somewhere here in the center. Earlier, I would, with my dear life, try and control that feeling and put a stop somewhere, like somebody please stop, like please stop. So that's also control, right? You're trying to resist. I'm letting go of resistance. I'm like, let's see where this takes us. Where does this go? Where does this feeling of lack of control take me? Where will it take me? So that's another thing that I'm exploring these days, and pretty much in every part of my life. And you know why? Another thing, another introduction, that I've not been your typical person following a linear path. And I know that a lot of you will say that even we've not followed. And I'm sure, I mean, see, I'm talking, so I'm talking about myself. If you make a video about yourself, then I'll listen. है ना? So right now ऐसे लगेगा बहुत बार that yeah, even we go through this, or even we feel this, and whatever you might be feeling, yeah, just take it in a very innocent way, okay? I am just trying to, like I said at the beginning of the video, trying to introduce myself in that format that lady asked that guest. I'm also trying to do that, so do it with me, is what I'm saying, okay? Like, no, I was just going to attach a profession to myself right now, but I won't. So another thing about me, so that was a little spiritual or mental or psychological bit that I go through. The other thing that I feel that I am is, there's a very deep-seated kindness, deep-seated, and empathy. And when I say, and I've traveled a distance from misplaced empathy to, I feel, genuine empathy. Why am I saying misplaced? Because at one point, I think I was trying to empathize with my own self, my own little child inside, and saying, don't worry, it's okay. See, somebody else is in pain, so let's cry with them and maybe you will heal. So it was a little misplaced. Today, I feel that I've moved past that stage. I feel maybe 2 years down the line, I'll make another video where I'll be like, but the one that I made in 2025, I moved from there. That is another thing that I'm aware of, that my life is carrying me through a distance. It is. And I'm letting it. I do see myself as from like upar se, like a third person, like watching that, okay, now she's doing this, now she's doing that. Not always, but a lot of times. And here I think I'm a reader. I love reading books. So there's a book called The Untethered Soul. That book really helped me. Every time that I find myself in a lot of stress, and believe me, it comes in leaps and bounds these days, because I am going through a certain transition in my life, as are so many people, right? Because at least the people that I meet, maybe I'm not meeting suitable or appropriate people in this situation. Okay, please understand this before you misunderstand that. Maybe I'm not. And how can it be? How can one person meet somebody at the same time in the same geographical location who's going through the same things? It's not possible, right? Which is why the sense of loneliness. So loneliness is not, any time that I try to explain to, which is why I've stopped explaining. Sometimes I try and explain to people how I always feel a sense of loneliness, which is not the negative one that we tend to allude to. On the contrary, it is very sweet, and yet it is so deep. I can't explain this. It's a deep sense of loneliness, yet that loneliness is what is the fuel for the empathy that I have. So, and I can't even say I won't have it any other way, because then again, it's almost like I control my life. I say that a lot, but this is me introducing myself to you, without the tags and without the social tags and things. So that's another thing. And then the whole being alone. I'm completely alone, even though I have people around me, but I feel I'm completely alone. And that gives me a sense of a very high, distinct and solid and absolute feeling of empowerment. Where and being independent, not in a way that I don't need you, but independent in terms of actually sitting and examining all the things that I am capable of doing on my own, but there is a story I've told myself that no, but this I can't do this. So obviously I need help, or obviously somebody else will do. I'm also starting to examine the number of places that I feel entitled, and not for any fault of mine. No fault. Yeah, there's no blaming. There's no fault finding. There is no none of that. I'm really exploring that what all is going on inside. That's another thing where I'm exploring that no, this is very entitled. This is a very entitled way of looking at things. So that is another something that I am exploring these days. Apart from that, I feel I bring vulnerability to the table, honesty. you know and why do I bring them to the table? Because again, I feel from the top, when I said that we are all humans who are just passing time by making ourselves busy and making things that don't matter almost sit on a pedestal above us and then worshipping it. Like एक कबीर का दोहा है ना, ये कबीर का ही है शायद, जो बोलते हैं, कबीर का ही दोहा है, I think. The blacksmith is talking to the one of the priests or somebody and saying, ये जो पत्थर है जो नीचे ज़मीन से मिट्टी से उठा है, अभी इसका कोई वैल्यू नहीं है. अब मैं जब इसको कोई मूर्ति या कुछ और बना दूंगा, इसका कुछ रिलीजियस स्ट्रक्चर बना दूंगा, तो वो पेडेस्टल पे चढ़ेगा एंड तब फिर सब उसकी पूजा करेंगे एंड उससे रिलेटेड 100 चीज़ें शुरू होंगी और सब उसकी, और फिर आपस में लोग लड़ेंगे. तो वो जो चीज़ है ना, दैट्स व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. ये चीज़ मुझे, आई हैव ऑलवेज फेल्ट इट दैट all of us need exactly the same things. I feel we are all the same. we यार, आपका जो दुख है, दुख या सुख की जो भावना आपके अंदर आती है और जो मेरे अंदर आती है, वो तो एग्जैक्टली सेम है ना. इंटेंसिटी ऊपर नीचे होती है, द वे यू रिएक्ट विल बी डिफरेंट, बट जब वो भावना आएगी, जब वो फीलिंग आएगी, वो तो सेम है ना. है कि नहीं है यार? जैसे वो नाना पाटेकर ने एक वो कोई मूवी में ऐसे 2 लोगों का ब्लड लेके करता है ना कुछ, ये देख 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 सेम कलर है. वेरी फनी मूवी, वेरी फनी सीन, बट वेरी इम्पैक्टफुल नेवरदलेस. ब्लड कलर इज़ द सेम, चोटें सेम तरीके से लगती हैं. आपका दिल एक है, मेरा दिल एक है. आपके 2 लंग्स हैं, मेरे 2 लंग्स हैं. So here is where then I start to go into the whole discrimination वाला bit, कि फिर हम इतने status और इतने classes और ये सब, yes of course it will move into a very 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 long discussion, I agree, but this is just me trying to say and introduce myself to you that maybe the kindness and the empathy and the vulnerability and the honesty comes from there in me. It does, because these 4-5 things, and compassion, these 5-6 things, no, they've been running with me like little girls holding hands and just running in a garden chasing butterflies. I can feel that, ये खत्म नहीं होते. On the contrary, things like cutthroatism, things like competition, things like a need for validation through achievement and performance are things that I'm letting go of now. It's been a journey, I'm letting go of, because you know what, and who, like things like failing, I don't understand that word. I don't understand that word at all. I just don't understand this. What does the word fail mean? Why was it invented? If it is a word where, like right now, if I say that I fail to understand it, fair enough. But you have failed or you are a failure, I feel is the most unkind word on the planet. How? So that means we are almost saying you failed. Like somebody else is deciding for you that you have failed. Either an institution or a human being. Right? Or an organization. So again, what are you failing at? And let's say आप फेल हुए, फिर so मतलब क्या हो गया? तो फिर शुरू कर लो यार. Just and this is the reason why I feel so lonely, because even right now while I'm speaking, pata hai, again, so this is another feeling, the fear of judgment. It's not disappeared, yaar. It's not disappeared. Come on, how can it? A man is a social animal. Man is always, I exist in relationship. I exist in relation with you. That's why I'm making the video, that I'm hoping that some people watch and resonate with it, no? So that lie it's a lie that I can live alone. No, nobody can live alone. We are human beings, So that's another thing that I'm kind of introducing myself to you, that somewhere, obviously, I want a lot of applause. I like applause, but I also see through it, and there are a certain set of people maybe, or kinds of people, that when they applaud, तो मुझे ज़्यादा खुशी मिलती है. And the others do, तो मेरे को लगता है हाँ, okay, I undervalue it maybe. I'm being very open right now, and actually I'm mostly open. I actually have to learn to not be open, is what I've been told again by a lot of people. So again, that karna padta hai and all of that again goes back to the discussion that I was saying, ki karna padta hai for who, for what, for what? There's this flower, no, rafflesia or something, जो कुछ पता नहीं क्या 30,000 years के बीच में एक बार ही bloom होता है. उसको बोल सकते हैं कि तुमको हर सीजन में होना है. एंड देन वो क्या बोलेगा वापस कि या बट वाई हर सीजन में आई एम नॉट अ रोज़, और आई एम नॉट रोज़ तो खैर सारे टाइम ही होता है, जो भी फ्लावर्स सीजनल होते हैं वो उनको बोलेगा. सपोज वो उसको बोलते हैं तो वो वापस उसको बोलेगा क्या कि यार तुम तो हर सीजन में आते हो, मैं तो 20 साल में एक बार ब्लूम होता हूँ, या 17 या 7 साल में, whatever. They're all letting each other be, and then we say we should learn from nature. And then again I feel, why should we learn from nature when we are also nature? We are also nature, no? And then there are other things. This can go endlessly, but this was just a thought that ignited something in my mind. And I will wrap up by saying that whether you want to make a video and express yourself, or you want to write it in your diary, or you want to talk to somebody about it, or use this somewhere, or enact it out, dance it out, paint it out, sing it out, sculpt it out, but do experiment with this thought that, let's say I don't know you at all and I just know your name for convenience sake, that I have to address you with something. Then how will you talk to me? How will you introduce yourself, that I get to really know you? And then nothing else matters, no? Then nothing else matters.